No, thank you. Sleepy. Come back in an hour. Need sleepy. Please go away. Let me sleep for the love of God!
It's now time for the Billy C. Morning Show, part of the Billy C. Boxing Network. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're coming to you live under snowy skies in Lake George, New York. I'm Bill Calogero, and it's time for the Billy C. Morning Show. Good morning, everybody. Hope everybody's doing all right. Give a special shout out to all of our listeners on terrestrial radio, on our 38 stations around the U.S. and Canada. Glad to be with you today. And, of course, everyone watching on Fight TV and YouTube and podcasts and wherever you're watching and listen to the show. Good morning to everyone out there. And speaking of Fight TV, don't forget to download the free app. All you got to do is go to fight.tv. That's FITE.tv/Billy C. Download the app for free. Watch us on Fight TV and get all the rest of the programming for free forever if you use our code, which is fight.tv/Billy C. Today's show is being brought to us in part by Sal's Neighborhood Pizzeria and Italian Restaurant located in beautiful St. Simons Island, Georgia. Check out the website, www.salsneighborhoodpizzeria.com, or give my man a call, 912-268-2328, 912-268-2328. And don't forget, if you are heading south, which most of you are doing right now, that the white stuff is falling on a regular basis here in the Northeast, don't forget you can get to Sal's. It's literally a 15-minute out-of-your-way detour off of I-95. That includes stopping for a couple of lights. So if you want to take some chances and run the red lights, you'll get there even quicker. Check out the website for the address. If you need any additional help, just drop me an email, www.salsneighborhoodpizzeria.com. Today's show is also being brought to us in part by Fight TV. Don't forget about downloading the free app, www.fight.tv/Billy C. That's FITE. Today's show is also being brought to us in part by my book. Tom Molina from Bondage, The Baddest Man on the Planet, is available right now where all good books are sold. And you can literally get a copy of it right now by going to barnesandnoble.com or amazon.com. Find out why we have a 5-star rating across the board. Find out why I'm so adamant about getting this guy the recognition he deserves, the true recognition he deserves. It's from slavery. I mean, it's more than just coming from rags to riches. This is slavery to riches, back down to an undesirable state. So check out the story. It's a true story. Tom Molina from Bondage, The Baddest Man on the Planet is a great Christmas gift. And the best part is the book fits right into a stocking very easily. If you want a signed copy or a personalized copy in any way you want, just visit our website, BillyCBoxing.com. and click on the book club section. I just want to tell everyone our program schedule for the week as we close out the year. And as you know, we are going to be adding some good things and removing some other things that maybe weren't so good with our new format for 2017. So stay tuned for more on that. But this week we are here, obviously today. We are here on Wednesday, and we will be doing a post-fight show, which we will be doing after every major fight. We will be doing a post-fight show in 2017, so that's a big addition that's taking place here. But we will be doing a post-fight show as soon as Bernard Hopkins and Joe Smith Jr. fight is over. So this week we're scheduled to be here Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. Next week, just Monday and Wednesday. And then the last week of December, we are off and return Monday, January 2nd, 2017, with our new format. I will remind you guys about that as the week progresses. And my topic today, I mean, we got fight results to talk about. I got some emails. I got some NFL scores and highlights and Heisman Trophy winner. I got all of that. But my main thought today, Anthony Joshua, all right? I have been high on this kid long before he won a title. I actually liked him since he's turned pro. I actually watched him in the amateurs, which I don't normally do. I've been saying time and time again he's the future of the heavyweight division. Well, I got news for you. I think he's the future of boxing. This guy is exciting. He's grounded. There's not one negative thing about him that I can really pick apart. I mean, he's all business inside the ring, a likable guy. And I got one thing to say. Deontay Wilder, Anthony Joshua will kick the living shit out of you. Deontay Wilder will never see the final bell when he gets in, if he ever gets in the same ring with boxing gloves on to fight, that is, against Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua will knock out. He'll destroy. But bottom line, Anthony Joshua will destroy Deontay Wilder when and if Deontay Wilder grows the hair on his little balls to step in the ring with him. Joining me right now from non-snowy St. Simon's Island in Georgia is the man, the myth, the legend himself. He's a New Jersey Boxing Hall of Famer. He's a Guinness Book of World Record holder. He can throw a pizza across the Tacoma. I mean, you think George Washington can throw a nickel across? Well, I got news for you. Sal can throw a pizza across, and he's my best friend. So joining me right now, Sal Rocky Senecola. What's up, Sal?
Billy C., good morning. How are you this morning, my friend?
I'm doing a lot better than Eric Molina is, I'll tell you that.
Tell you, Eric Molina, I think he's going to be doing some Slim Fast commercials. I don't know what.
You know, and he was in and nothing but nothing. He was in good shape.
Put him down.
I'll tell you what, compared to when he fought Deontay, the fraud Wilder, who gave Wilder all kinds of trouble, he looked way better in the fight. And like we were talking about last time, you know, sometimes when a fighter does well, the confidence level brings them up, better than they really are, don't you think?
Absolutely. I mean, you know what? It is all in the psyche. And, you know, you try to see how you feel, but you tell yourself what you feel and how you feel, and you believe it. And that's what you got to do. And sometimes these fighters may pound their chests, but it's a false sense of security. Maybe it's a inherent security. I don't know. But we know he was pounding his chest a little bit. But I'll tell you what, one man that pounded his chest and his jaw was Anthony Joshua.
Anthony Joshua looked fantastic. We're going to go through the fights right now. Anthony Joshua, in case you missed it, he improved to 18-0 with 18 knockouts when he basically just destroyed Eric Molina. The final stoppage came at 2 minutes and 2 seconds of round number 3. Anthony Joshua, in my opinion, is a no-nonsense guy. I love him. And, I had to laugh, Sal, because, they brought in Deontay Wilder to be a guest analyst. And Deontay Wilder, and they were killing time. I mean, I watched the live broadcast of the Anthony Joshua Molina, so they were killing time because some of the preliminaries went longer than they thought. And so what that meant was they gave Deontay Wilder a lot of mic time, which they shouldn't have. Deontay Wilder, just getting off Anthony Joshua for a second, Deontay Wilder, I kind of feel sorry for him, Sal, and I'm not kidding. And the reason why is because this guy really believes that he's something special. And, when you look at Deontay Wilder's record and you look at who he's fought, this guy's fought nobody. He has not been in a position to get better, and his team has done him no favors by handing him cupcake after cupcake. This guy is not prepared for a real fighter like Anthony Joshua, just like a fighter we're going to talk about in a few minutes in Mason Menard. He was
I was
another.
going to say, Mason Menard, I saw that fight, and I can't wait till we talk about
that.
Yeah,
and that's an exact example of what I talk about all the time. You're not doing your fighter any favors. And Deontay Wilder really believes that he is good. I mean, just his mannerisms and the things that come out of his mouth. He's in trouble, Sal. No doubt about it.
If he gets in the ring with Anthony Joshua, now, I thought Molina might last 6 to 8 rounds. But let me tell you something. Deontay Wilder is not going to see the 8th round. He won't even. I doubt he'll see the 8th round.
I agree with you. Deontay Wilder doesn't see the 8th round. David Hay was also ringside for the British broadcast of Anthony Joshua. He's trying to get his plugs in, saying that, him and Joshua, that guaranteed they're going to meet each other, blah, blah, blah. David Hay brings nothing to the table except his name, and Anthony Joshua won't have trouble with him. But his next fight is against Vladimir Klitschko. They will have an official announcement on Wednesday. Anthony Joshua said, "It's a perfect time for me to move up another step and contest my heavyweight championship belt against one of the legends of our sport. There is no doubt that this will be a titanic battle with a huge amount on the line, just like every fight. But when I enter the ring, I will be prepared for victory, as I have been with all my other fights. The legend against the champ. It's time to write history." I'll tell you what.
I love his attitude.
Is Anthony Joshua ready for Vladimir Klitschko?
I think he's ready, and I think he's going to do a hell of a job. And I love Vladimir Klitschko, too, just because of who he has been, what he's represented in the game, and his mentality of fighting. But Anthony Joshua is similar on that level. He's not going to turn down any opponent. He's going to bring his best A game to the ring. And that's why this fight will be a mega fight. This fight will be a great fight. And yeah, you know what? After the display of where I see Joshua, how he's progressing and how he is such a dominant force, I'll tell you what, I like Klitschko, but I think Joshua is going to possibly do what he has to do, and he's going to win the fight against Klitschko.
Klitschko had this to say. He said, "I'm looking forward to this fight of the year, just like all the boxing fans around the world are. This is the first time in a decade that I'm the challenger. I'll fight against a champion who I consider the best of the young generation. Basically, experience will take on youth. This makes this fight that unique. I'm ready for the challenge." It is a classic youth versus experience.
Perfect.
It's one of, to me, it follows what got me into boxing as a young lad, an essay written by Jack London called "A Piece of Steak," and it definitely just basically shows you youth against age and why youth will always prevail. And I think Anthony Joshua's road to where he is today has prepared him for a fight as far as action-packed. That's going to be up to Anthony Joshua. It's going to be interesting to see if he can handle Klitschko's power and his counterpunching ability. But from what I've seen of Anthony Joshua, this guy is methodical. He listens to his corner. He gets better and better. And quite honestly, I can't wait. I don't mean to look forward and past the Klitschko fight because it's going to be a tough fight. It's not an easy fight for Anthony Joshua. But I can't wait for Anthony Joshua to kick the shit out of Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder, I feel bad for him, Sal, because this guy believes that he's good and the best heavyweight in the world, and he thinks that everybody's trying to get him. And the reason why they all want him is because he's not that good. He's
That's
an
right.
easier
You know what?
road.
You just said it. He represents the best of the bad that we see out there. But I think Joshua, Klitschko, they're best of the best right now out there in that division. And I don't think Deontay Wilder really in his heart of hearts, he may think he wants to fight Joshua, and he may get that opportunity. But I'll tell you what, that'll definitely be a lights out for him that night.
Yeah, there's no question about that. I have no doubt that Anthony Joshua will destroy Deontay Wilder when and if Deontay Wilder has the balls to get in the ring with Anthony Joshua. But in the meantime, there's a lot of other fights for Anthony Joshua out there. And to be honest with you, the one thing that Deontay Wilder did say Saturday night that I agree with, the heavyweight division is pretty exciting if we start matching these guys against each other. Case in point, Luis Ortiz improved to 27-0 with 22 knockouts when he took care of David Allen, who had a decent record going into the fight, but was no match for Ortiz. Ortiz is one of those guys that I look forward to matching up with Anthony Joshua in the future. Another one is top-ranked Dillian White. He improved to 20-1 with 15 knockouts. His only loss is against Anthony Joshua. The way that fight went was 115-113 for Chisora, and I'm sorry, 115-114 for Chisora, and two judges had it for White, 115-113, 115-114, giving him the close to split decision win. Former super middleweight, who's now in the light heavyweight division, Frank Bugalani, improved to 19-2 with a draw when he beat the reigning British light heavyweight champ, Jose Burton, who loses for the first time in his career. Frank came from seemingly a losing effort to stop Burton in the final round to claim the British title. Also, Scott Quigg improved to 32-1 when he scored a ninth round stoppage of Jose Catano. That was also in England. Khalid Yafari improved to 21-0 when he scored a 12-round decision over former world champion Luis Concepcion, who drops to 35-5. And Callum Smith improved to 22-0 when he scored a ninth round knockout over Luke Blackledge, who drops to 22 wins, 3 losses, and a couple of draws. Some other action that we got to see over the weekend, Terence Crawford. What a performance by Terence Crawford. I mean, this fight went exactly how I envisioned it, Sal. I mean, but the only difference is I thought Terence Crawford would start off a little bit slower. I thought that Molina had an opportunity to jump on Crawford and maybe even hurt him and possibly take him out early in the fight. He was, just as I thought, bigger. He came in overweight. He didn't make weight. I know that's a pet peeve of yours, but the bottom line is Molina was just dominated by Terence Crawford, who looked fantastic. Listen, you know, he gets me excited because Terence Crawford is a perfect example of how you want to bring your fighter up. Terence Crawford was brought in. He started his career like everyone else, being carefully moved, and he got a couple of opportunities where this guy was brought in as the B-side fighter. He proved himself. He's been fighting tough opposition. They do sprinkle in a little weak one here and there, but let me tell you something. Terence Crawford, Sal, is what I like to see in a fighter. He's exciting. He engages. He displays the sweet science. He doesn't run across the ring to get away from his opponent. He'll take a step back and then come in and let his hands go and throw 4, 5, 6 punch combinations. He's exciting to watch, and he was definitely on and in with the perfect opponent on Saturday night to improve to 30-0 with 21 knockouts. Molina drops to 29-7. Mark Nelson, the referee, stopped the fight at 2 minutes and 32 seconds of the 8th round. What's your thoughts on Crawford's performance?
Yeah, he did a great job. From the get-go, he jumped onto Molina and went right across the ring. Molina was never in a fight. I didn't give him one round, and it was a shutout. And Terence Crawford displayed a beautiful, methodical, exciting, come and get me, but you can't kind of display. Molina never tried cutting off the ring. I could appreciate Molina's bull style coming at him and everything else, but if he tried to slip a punch once in a while, maybe tried to cut off the ring once in a while, he might have landed a haymaker. He might have landed a shot, and that's what a puncher's chance is always about: landing that one shot to turn a fight around. He never got off this. He never got off the get-go. Never got off it, and Molina was a good choice of an opponent. I know Max Kellerman kept saying the same thing, but I'll tell you what, I will be honest with you. I'm glad that Crawford finally did what he had to do, and he had to end that fight, because that fight was going to stink if it went all 12 rounds. It was that dominant.
Well, let's remember one thing, and I love Terence Crawford.
Oh yeah,
but anybody that gives Terence Crawford any crap, it took him too long, blah, blah, blah.
No, it didn't.
Yeah, but remember something. Terence Crawford is fighting a junior welterweight right now, and there's talk of him even moving up. I mean, he wants to fight Pacquiao, etc. This is a smaller guy. I mean, he has moved up in weight. And Molina, as you could see physically, plus didn't even try to lose the 4 pounds he came in over, clearly was bigger. And that's what happens. The knockouts take a little longer. It's the wear and tear. Hey, listen, he threw a good old-fashioned ass-whooping on John Molina, just like he was supposed to do. And I think Max was right. But bottom line is, I love watching fighters like Terence Crawford and Anthony Joshua. I mean, The only other guy that I can't get out of my mind that's going to get a good old-fashioned ass whipping is Deontay Wilder. When Deontay Wilder steps in that ring with Anthony Joshua, I can't wait. That fight, I don't want to. I just can't wait. And I know that we may have to wait for Anthony Joshua to fight several other fights, because Deontay Wilder is not going to step in the ring with any real opponent in his next fight. He's coming off the injuries and all of that. And he still pounds. Oh God, I just can't. I just can't get Deontay Wilder off my mind, because Anthony Joshua is so much of a better fiiter from top to bottom. I mean, I just can't wait to see Deontay Wilder get knocked out.
Oh, he's got to. No way is he gonna be able to stay in the ring with Anthony Joshua. No way, he cannot. And Joshua, what I love about him, fundamentally, he's such a solid, sound fighter. Yep. He keeps his hands up, his elbows are in. He executes one punch, his other hand's up there to catch a defensive posture, to catch a punch. He just moves. He just does the right thing. He's so plotting with his jab, and he can hurt you with a jab. He opens things up with that jab. But when he brings that right hand over or left hand across, he's just. It's great. I love watching Anthony Joshua. I think he's great for boxing. I think he's great for the heavyweight division, and I think he's definitely an asset that we need to see in this game today. You know
what I love about Anthony Joshua, and we keep going back to Anthony Joshua. You know what I love about him? He throws his punches with I'll take a page out of Tyson's past, with bad intentions, but he follows them up. He's not a guy, he follows through with a punch. When he throws his punch, when it's, is a power shot, not a jab, he follows through with it. And what I like about it is he doesn't stop. A lot of fighters today, Sal, and we've talked about this, it seems more often than not that fighters, and I believe that this is a result of being coddled in the gym and in sparring, etc. Where a fighter, they throw a hard punch and then they stop and they look and they're expecting their opponent to crumble to the canvas from the power, and a lot of times they don't, and rather than stop and admire, they have an opponent coming back at him. Anthony Joshua doesn't do that. He lets the knockouts come, and when he crushes his opponent, like what happened to Eric Molina, it's lights out. I mean, it's what I love about him. And he's not, Klitschko has a power right hand too, but he's got that punch cocked, waiting, and he's too hesitant to let it go. Anthony Joshua lets his hands go, and I love it. But
and you watch him. He just it's like we talk about the styles. He lets each punch he throws sets up his next punch, and that's how you do it. That's fighting. That's a combination. Right. So he lets his hands fly where he should. He executes them very well, and he gets the power behind the punches. So he's a very heavy-handed, great condition. I'm very excited about him. I can't pick him apart in any way, shape, or form right now. This guy's he's evolving to be such a complete fighter, and I think we're going to see some big things from him over the next couple of years.
No doubt.
For as long as he wants to stay on top. Getting back to the Molina fight with Terence Crawford, it was a great display. I think Crawford is by far just such an exceptional boxer, and he does pick apart his opponents. He slips the punches. He avoids the punches. He's great. But you know what I have to say? I actually liked what Roy Jones Jr. said during the commentary, because there was many times during the fight that some of his co-hosts were saying that they could see why the referee may decide to stop this fight at any time. And Roy chimed in. He said, hey, guess what? This is his style. He's a puncher. He's got a lucky chance to do this, to wade in, get the punches. But this is the business we chose to go in. If you're going to get hurt, this is the business. This is why we became fighters. It's like you and I say, Billy. So it was just good to hear it from somebody that could put it across the airways, the same thing.
Yeah, same guy that is matched up with Bobby Gunn, So, I mean, come on. Roy Jones Jr. needs to...
I just like this comment.
Yeah, but I agree with you. But Roy Jones Jr. needs to not only retire once and for all from the sport of boxing, he needs to find something other than working on HBO, because I can't stand his commentary. I can't stand it. It just, he gets so old. I mean, it's the same stuff. He thinks, like he still thinks people give a rat's ass about him and his career, which unfortunately there's a whole generation that has never seen the great Roy Jones. He's been hanging on so long, we haven't seen a performance from Roy Jones that was Roy Jones-esque in a decade. So whatever. Let's get to some of these other fights, because I got some emails to read. Abner Mares, in an extremely entertaining fight, became a champion again for his fourth world title. He improved to 29-2 with a draw with 15 knockouts when he won a decision over Jesus Cuellar, who drops to 28-2. The way the judges scored it, two of them had it for Abner Mares. 117, 110, 116, 111, which were extremely accurate. The third judge must have been Jesus Cuellar's cousin or something, because he scored it for Cuellar, 115, 112, which I can't understand how that happened. Abner Mares looked fantastic in this fight. Everything that I had hoped for him, because I'm such a big fan of Mares, and he's now a WBA featherweight champ. On this card, there were two other and I'm not taking anything away from Abner Mares, but on this card, there were two other performances that I feel deserve attaboy. The first one is super welterweight or junior middleweight champion Jermall Charlo. He improved to 25-0 with 19 knockouts when he scored a fifth-round stoppage over Julian Williams. Williams drops to 22-1 with a draw, 2 minutes and 6 seconds. Listen, I love this fight. First of all, Charlo is the biggest junior middleweight I've seen. This guy looks like he could be a middleweight or super middleweight or even light heavyweight without batting an eye. He is just so much bigger than his opposition all the time, including J-Rock on Saturday night. He has called out Canelo Alvarez. I see potential with Charlo, not only giving Alvarez a tough fight, but I think he could give Triple G a battle of the ages as well. I think Charlo has progressed along very nicely. I did have my doubts about him moving up, but he's clearly fundamentally sound. He did take some shots from J-Rock in that fight. I think the only thing he needs to go back to the gym and work on is maybe tighten up at his defense. But this guy is in shape. He throws his punches crisp. He's got a nice jab. He knows how to finish. I love him. Jermall Charlo looked fantastic on Saturday night. Sal, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I didn't see that fight. I was unable to see that fight, but I saw all the other ones. But he definitely, from what I heard in commentary and stuff and in the post-fight, yeah, he did a great job. And I think he's an exciting fighter, and I think we're going to see some big things from him.
Yeah, there's no question about that.
Big things from him. He's a good young fighter.
I'm looking forward to his next fight. Hopefully, it is against a main opponent like Canelo Alvarez.
I would love to see him fight Alvarez.
Well, Alvarez got to fight somebody. Alvarez's value is slowly going down the toilet.
I mean, he's sliding down the bowl.
I tell you what, and you know. I looked at Charlo. I know you didn't watch his fight, but I'm sure you'll get a chance to later. But I watched his fight, and I'm saying to myself, man, this guy, Jermall Charlo, is way bigger than Triple G. Everybody talks about Triple G. Oh, he's got to move up to light heavyweight and fight, Andre Ward and all of this. And I'm looking, Triple G is a small middleweight. He's small. And you look at Charlo, who's, I don't know how the hell, I got to give Charlo credit. I don't know how this guy makes weight. Because he looks like he could be a 200-pounder in there. Really, he's a big kid.
He does look big. He does.
He's Iran Barkley big. I mean, that's he's like that. I don't know how he makes weight. But anyway, Raimundo Beltran improved to 32-7 with a draw when he scored a 7th-round knockout over Mason Menard, who busted out onto the scene and became very popular. And listen, let me just say this. All right, Mason Menard was a good up and coming fighter, and I had some dealings with his trainer / manager Chad Bouchard, and this is a guy that they kept hidden and under wraps in the Louisiana boxing circuit for several years, and it shows, Sal.
Oh,
it
man,
showed. I mean, Mason Menard.
You have a veteran like Ray Beltran, who's been in the ring, who's got a resume, and like night and day. This kid comes in, pretty boy, clean, ready to go in. Man, you could see by the first round, which was a great round, a good exchange, everything else. In fact, that was probably his closest round of maybe winning. I still gave it to Beltran, but it could have been a draw. But it was definitely the master, the veteran, in with the school student, and he gave him a hell of a lesson.
Well, Ray Beltran, who is a tough fighter, he's been in with world class level fighters, showed why I complain about boxing today and why promoters and managers and television networks don't challenge their young fighters. And the end result is possible career ending. I'm not saying Mason Menard's career is over, but these are the kinds of fights where they get put in with a guy that's 10 years older than him, that's got 7 losses, and all these young fans today put a value on losses. Oh, he's got 7 losses, so he mustn't be very good. And the truth of the matter is of those 7 losses, I could probably show you 3 at least without even batting an eye that he was robbed on. So I mean, the 7 losses meant nothing. Ray Beltran was the higher energy fighter, landed the harder punches, clearly had the boxing knowledge over Mason Menard. And Mason Menard's corner just wouldn't accept that their kid was finished when they asked him 157 times, are you okay? You want me to stop this fight? And he's not answering. Guess what?
The guy almost wanted his corner to chime in and say, "Hey, it's over."
Let me tell you, when you ask a fighter, "Do you want me to stop it?" and that motherfucker doesn't answer, that's when you stop it. You don't want your kid to say, "Yeah, coach, stop it," because then you're going to criticize him. He quit. When the kid doesn't answer and get all agitated that you're about to stop the fight, stop the fight. His corner ran the risk of possibly getting this kid hurt, and he took some additional beating. And quite honestly, I don't even know if the referee should have let him continue after the first knockdown, but he was finally knocked down, 51 seconds, laid out, and not able to get up. So congratulations to Ray Beltran. Just some other fights I want to mention real quick before we get into these emails. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. Went the distance with his opponent Dominic Brisk to improve to 50 wins, 2 losses, and a draw. 99-91 were the way all 3 judges scored that fight. And after the fight, he's calling out Alvarez and Triple G. I personally would like to see him fight Triple G. I think that would be a good fight. Chavez Jr. Is a big guy. He came in shape, and he fought in the 168-pound class. So Chavez Jr. against Triple G would be a decent fight. Also, Ivan Barancek improved to 13-0 when he beat Wilberth Lopez, who drops to 15-7. Lopez did drop Barancek, flash knockdown in the 4th, but that was the closest he came to winning. The way the judges scored that, 98-91 twice, and one judge had it 97-92. In the co-main, Trey Lippy Morrison, who's the son of the late Morrison, the late Mr. Morrison, the late Tommy Morrison, improved to 13-0 with 13 knockouts when he beat Ty Cobb via a second-round knockout. Cobb drops to 19-8. The official time was 2 minutes and 10 seconds. Lippy Morrison is a guy that a lot of people want to see. And then finally, Sal, on another fight that took place that was a big fight for the heavyweight division, Joseph Parker won the WBO heavyweight title when he beat Andy Ruiz. This was a typical... Again, a typical story for a fighter that's never tested. Andy Ruiz did give a better performance than I thought he would, but at the end, he lost the way the judges scored it. And by the way, Joseph Parker is now undefeated, 22-0 with 18 knockouts. Ruiz drops for the first loss of his career. He's now 29-1. The way the judges scored it, two judges had it 115, 113 for Joseph Parker. One judge had it even at 114, 114. At the end of the fight, Andy Ruiz said, "I thought I was controlling the fight with my jab, but I think he had the advantage that he fought in his hometown." I say this, jabs are important, Sal, but they can't win you a fight. You got to throw a power hand every now and then. Joseph Parker prevented Ruiz from doing it. Joseph Parker said, "I felt I was using my jab, and everything flowed behind it well. When I didn't use it, I allowed him to close the gap and throw punches. He's a great fighter. Let's celebrate New Zealand. We did it." Of course, he's the first New Zealand champ. I think he was just being nice. I don't think Andy Ruiz is anything close to being a great fighter. Did you get to see any clips of that?
I saw the whole fight.
Yeah, they showed the whole fight later on, and it was a decent fight. What'd you think?
It was. You know what I liked about it, Bill? It was a good fight. It was a good, solid fight. It was no softy. I mean, from the first round on, these guys went at it, and they weren't fighting safety first. There was no safety first. They exchanged some heavy blows, and I'll tell you what, Ruiz did a lot better than what I even thought when I first saw their makeup and their styles. But Ruiz kept plotting in there and almost rushing, almost lunging, just to get some combinations in. He wasn't afraid of getting hit or anything, but he did a good job. He was effective at times, but definitely Joe Parker looked superior and gave him a good fight. But it was a good fight. And you know what I liked about this fight?
What, Sal?
And I'm sure Kovalev would have liked the fight when he fought Ward. They had 3 international judges at this fight from Germany, Argentina, and the Philippines. Why, I still don't know beyond any recollection or whatever why another fight between Kovalev and Ward was all 3 domestic USA judges. I just don't understand how they settled on that.
Well, that's because Andre Ward, the biggest diva in boxing, very close second is Miguel Cotto, because he wouldn't fight unless he had it that way. You know, he's
unbelievable. But that was that was a good fight to see 2 heavyweights fight that fight. I thought it was very good. They had great exchanges, and this guy Andy Ruiz, to his credit, there was no quitting in this guy. He got hit with some shots, and he came back with some heavy shots himself. And he didn't box his way in. I'm saying he just lunged his way in there.
Yeah, no doubt. Let's get some emails out of the way. This one's from Jesse. He says, "I want to see Joshua against Vladimir Klitschko next, and after him, then Wilder, and then Ortiz, and then Parker if he still is a champion." We talked about this. Yes, Anthony Joshua is already scheduled to fight Vladimir Klitschko. I think he'll beat Klitschko, and I pray to God that Deontay Wilder gets to fight him next, because he will knock the shit out of Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder will probably go after Parker to pick up that belt because, you know, that's the easiest fight. And I hope even Parker listen, Deontay Wilder is he's a fraud. I mean, I don't want to keep bashing him, but he is a fraud. Jesse goes on to say Parker needs
would
more.
Be a good fight.
Yeah. Parker says, Jesse says Parker needs more work and probably should fight the big guys, but he might have to in order to show that he belongs as a champion. Parker should fight some guys like Huey Fury, Baby Miller, and Hubert Pulov. That should be some kind of test, and if he beats those guys. You know, here's the thing. Got to stop testing fighters after they win a belt. He's supposed to be a world champion. If we're supposed to value this guy as a world champion, then he's got to fight the top fighters. He doesn't have to still develop. Jarrell Miller is a bum. This guy has no business fighting any champion, so any shot that he gets is bullshit. I mean, come on. You know, you can't be a champion and then say that you're still developing. That's what boxing has become. That's what boxing has become. Let me just say this. Today's world of boxing, Sal, you know, it's easy to get a world title. It's easy. But you know what's hard? To hold on to the world title. If you're fighting real opponents, it's easy to get the belt. It's hard to hold on to it. So let's see how they can hold on to it if they fight each other. He says it's time the top heavyweights show who really is the best of the best. No time to waste. Wilder, Ortiz, Joshua, Vlad, Parker, they need to all fight each other. Yeah, Jesse, I agree with you there. Thanks for the email. This one's from the original Other Alex, he says, hey, Billy C. and Sal, I just read about Cotto versus Kirkland. Then I saw it was a pay-per-view fight. I would beg fans not to buy this fight. We spend too much time complaining about lousy pay-per-view cards, the promoters, the networks, the fighters who won't fight each other, etc., etc., etc. It's time to point the finger at ourselves, the fans. If we keep buying this crap, they'll keep selling us crap. Is this a bad fight? No. It'll probably be a good fight. But it's a fight between two guys who haven't fought in years, worth $70 a price tag. Is this fight worth $70? He says, no way. I keep reading about how the NFL is going to pull the plug on Thursday night football because the ratings are down and the games suck. The fans rejected Thursday night football, and the league gets the message. Boxing fans need to do the same thing. If we demand better fights and only support the quality shows, then we'll get better fights. I've been saying that for a long time, Sal. We got to just say no. No question about that. Hey, by the way, for anybody watching live, come on over to the chat room that we're involved in up on BillyCBoxing.com. We would love to have you. There's a lot of knowledgeable people in there. I know we're getting numbers flashing across the board here from Fight TV viewers and our YouTube stream. Come on over to BillyCBoxing.com in the chat room and get your thoughts talked about here on the show live. The bottom line is Miguel Cotto against James Kirkland. That isn't that great of a fight. Kirkland has shown that he's very vulnerable. He's a one-dimensional fighter. And Cotto was looking just to get another shot at Canelo Alvarez. There's rumor that Canelo Alvarez will fight the winner, and then we're just going to drag it on. We got some good fights to make. Let's make them. Finally, the last email we got is from our buddy Brett from Canada. He says, hey, Billy C. and Sal. Sorry I haven't been able to write or even watch fights this weekend because I've been swamped with Christmas, and I will be catching up this weekend. I just wanted to let you know that I'm really looking forward to 2017 and the changes that you guys are going to do to the show as doing the post-fight shows. And that is one thing we are implementing in 2017. We will be doing post-fight shows after all major fights. I don't care what network they're on, whether it's a cable, whether it's a pay-per-view. It could be on the Cartoon Network for all I care. If it's a major fight, we'll be doing a post-fight. So that's one thing we are definitely doing in 2017. He says, one thing I would love to see is maybe a highlight, is maybe for you to highlight a prospect each week who you think has a lot of potential. Also, when you're winding down to finish the show and you're talking about this day in boxing history, highlight one of those fights and give a brief synopsis of it. You guys
That's
are the
a good
best.
Suggestion.
Yeah, both of them are.
I like them. Both of them.
So, thanks for the suggestions, Brett, and for everybody else out there. If you want to give us a suggestion for some of the modifications that we are going to be doing for this show in 2017, drop me an email, Billy@TalkinBoxing, TalkinBoxing.com. Just to jump out of the sport of boxing for a minute, we got some other sport news here, Sal, in the NFL.
Yes, we do.
Yeah,
we had a good late night score that I can't wait to hear you say. But go ahead.
I'm sick to my stomach over that one. But in the NFL, the Steelers topped the Bills 27-20. Titans improved to 7-6 quietly, are in the playoff hunt. They beat the Broncos 13-10. Redskins over the Eagles 27-22. Dolphins beat the Cardinals 26-23. And I'm glad about that. I've become kind of a Dolphin fan, believe it or not, even though I'm a diehard Jet fan. The Panthers topped the Chargers 28-16. Bengals beat the Browns 23-10. Browns winless at 0-13. The Lions and the Bears. Oh, my. Oh, no, that's a different story. Lions improved to 9-4, and they beat the Bears 20-17. Texans over the Colts 22-17. The Vikings beat the Jaguars 25-16. The Buccaneers over the Saints 16-11. The Falcons beat the Rams 42-14. The Packers topped the Seahawks 38-10. The Giants beat the Cowboys 10-7 in a defensive struggle in a cold game at Giant Stadium. And the Jets behind Bryce Petty beat the 49ers, two terrible teams. 23-17 in overtime. But the exciting part of this game for me was watching Bryce Petty. Not that he had a great game, but Bryce Petty was 23 out of 35 for 257 yards. He didn't have a touchdown. He did have one interception, but I think this kid is showing some promise. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed that he's around next year as well. In the NBA, the 76ers topped the Pistons 97-79. The Thunder over the Celtics 99-96. The Warriors over the Timberwolves 116-108. The Pelicans beat the Suns by a point 120-119. The Knickerbockers over the Lakers 118-112. And in the NHL, the Ducks beat the Senators 5-1. The Flyers over the Red Wings 1-0 in overtime. Capitals shut out the Canucks 3-0. Wild over the Blues 3-1. Avalanche over the Maple Leafs 3-1. The Rangers shut out the Devils 5-0. Blackhawks over the Stars 3-1. And the Oilers beat the Jets 3-2. Some other sports news I wanted to get out from Louisville. Lamar Jackson wins the 2016 Heisman Trophy. He beat out some quality players like Baker Mayfield out of Oklahoma and Deed Westbrook, also from Oklahoma, who's a wide receiver. Clemson quarterback Deshaun Watson, who many people thought was the favorite going in, and linebacker Jabril Peppers, all were up for it, but didn't win. But joining Sal and myself right now is Dax Khan. Dax, I hope everything's doing well for you. My one question before you give us your thoughts, Anthony Joshua, I think, gives Deontay Wilder a good old-fashioned ass-beating. I can't see Deontay Wilder going, and I agree with Sal, I can't see him going 8 rounds against Anthony Joshua. What's your thought on that fight, and what else you got cooking?
I think I think Deontay Wilder, in the short of it, is a little bit underrated. I'm not saying he'll beat Anthony Joshua, but I really don't think it'd be that easy of a fight.
Well, I think Deontay Wilder can't show me anything about him being mentioned in the same breath talent-wise as an Anthony Joshua. He hasn't fought the level of opposition, and even when he's fought less than stellar opposition, he's struggled. I can't believe that he actually believes he's the best, but my opinion is he won't last 8 rounds with Anthony Joshua. And the only thing he could do is fight a similar game plan that he fought against Stavern. But I think Joshua knows how to cut the ring off. I don't know. I don't see it being competitive.
I just think that Deontay Wilder is a guy that, and we've spoke about this before, I think, a lot of his competition isn't so much his fault. I think it's more or less that they were just trying to get a hold of a title here. Considering there were no belts here, everything pretty much still is overseas. So they were just trying to get a hold of that title with the Berman-Stavern fight, and so that's the division was pretty much up in chaos, and ever since then they haven't run with it. Things are starting to fall into place. We'll see what happens. Whether he wins or whether he loses, the fight's got to get made because the division isn't really going to go any further. It's not going to get back to where it once was unless these type of fights are made.
Jermell Charlo, Dax, looked fantastic. I mean, so did Terence Crawford, but the Charlo fight was more realistic, and like a lot of fighters today, he kind of had an easy path to his title, but he certainly showed that he's the real deal on Saturday night. What's your thoughts?
Julian Williams, he's a tough kid. I like him. Tries hard, but just like Charlo, I'm not going to sit there and say he was great. This is the best opponent he could have fought. Charlo, he put on a solid performance. It was a sensational knockout, that quick little punch that Williams didn't even see coming. But, Charlo now all of a sudden, again, you talk about how Deontay Wilder's beating his chest and any of these other guys out there without those accolades. This did not warrant Charlo to feel that he is this top guy. I'm sorry. I don't think that, he gets past the redheaded Mexican who, in my opinion, despite his middleweight, what happened at middleweight with Cotto, and despite, the moving down and the Amir Khan fight, I really don't think that he's in the league of Canelo, and especially the kid who really aggravates me because he doesn't fight, and I blame his team more than anything, and that's Demetrius Andrade. Andrade actually, in the post-fight, he went to the press conference, and he said, let's go. He goes, I want you, and Charlo said, well, who are you? And Andrade he said, actually, he tells everybody, he goes, I'm the top guy here. Nobody's getting these fights with me. Everybody's below me. You know who I am. And Charlo just more or less kind of he stuttered a bit. He didn't know what to say. You spoke about the size earlier on. Andre is actually a bigger guy than Charlo is overall. If you ever stood next to them or you ever see them, they're about the same height. They have the same reach, but Andre actually is a little bulkier. And I really don't think that, Charlo is going to do anything special after this, and he's not going to jump up to middleweight and take on Triple G. Everybody just gets over their heads. They get overexcited after a knockout, and that's what's going on here. So I'm not really that impressed with this. You got to do something more than one good fight, one good knockout. Up until now, what's he done? He's beaten guys that are past their best on the slide. He won his title from a very, as much as I like K9, he was probably the least accomplished champion, and he was 42 years old. So let's see what you can do besides talk.
Yeah, well, I thought he looked great. Terence Crawford looked great and did what he had to do. What's your thoughts on that one?
Well, John Molina, how he came in almost he was just shy of 4 pounds overweight.
Unbelievable.
He looked horrible when he stepped into the ring. John Molina, as I stated last week or the week before, I figured if anything, he'd give Crawford a tough fight, just due to his chin and the fact that, he's able to bore in and stand there and trade. Crawford would have a slow start. As you stated, I was kind of surprised that Crawford didn't, and that would have been Molina's best chance. But Molina, I don't know if he was drained. I'm not if he was sick. He didn't train right. Whichever the case may be, but between that and just between Terence Crawford's overall skill set, it was another sensational performance by Crawford. People are a little bit down on Crawford. The quality of opponent, this was a mismatch. But, look at Terence Crawford's resume over the last couple of years. And something, the guy has done nothing but break his back. He's fought nothing but top guys, and this, was a little bit of a, I guess you can call it, maybe a gimme fight. I don't know, but bigger things are coming for Crawford. And as for Molina, I think it's time for him to decide whether or not he wants to fight anymore.
Well, Molina's a bigger guy, and I didn't think that Molina was going to outbox Crawford. I thought that this fight was exactly what it was supposed to be, a showcase for Terence Crawford. But I give him credit for this fight because he didn't start off slow. I mean, he started off at a fast pace and showed that John Molina did not belong in the same ring with him, and it was a good win. One last fight before you
right,
give
yeah,
us...
no, that's exactly what I was saying. At no point in time did I think Molina was going to win, but I figured he would have made it tough for Crawford early on because of Crawford's slow starts.
It was a punching bag.
Yeah, one last thing, Dax, I wanted to ask you before you can give us any updates on some talk on social media is the Joseph Parker Andy Ruiz fight was a decent fight. I still don't believe that either one of them should have been fighting for a world title, but it is what it is. What was your thoughts on that one?
I scored it a draw personally.
Yeah, well,
I did like the fact that they had judges from 3 separate countries, nobody from the United States, nobody from New Zealand. I like that throwaway jab of Joseph Parker. He does it a little bit too lazy. Andy Ruiz, his biggest problem in that fight is, even though he was coming forward, he was pressing the action. At some point in time, I was looking at the counter, and I was looking at Andy Ruiz come in. He was going 15 to 20 seconds without throwing a single punch. When he did throw combinations, he did make Joseph Parker go on the defensive a little bit. Andy Ruiz is not a big puncher, but his lack of work rate is what lost him that fight. Joseph Parker, he cannot keep that left hand low. That he does has become a bad habit of his. And Joseph Parker, like a lot of these big heavyweights of this era, has also seemed to develop this style of when a smaller guy comes in, tie him up and lean on him, except for the fact Joseph Parker really, in my opinion, he didn't look like he was oversized. He's a big guy, but I'm talking about he usually looks a lot bulkier and stronger. He looks like he might have slimmed down a little bit for this fight.
Who, Molina or Crawford?
No. We're talking about Joseph Parker.
Oh, Joseph Parker. Yeah, he looked good. I thought Andy Ruiz looked probably.
That is the fight you brought up, is it not?
It is. I'm pulling a Sal. I'm paying attention to the chat room. I was responding.
Yeah, I can't do that, Bill. I'll tell you what. I know I can't.
No. That is the fight I brought up.
Go ahead.
No, but I think that I think that Andy
Here's my
Ruiz was
smelling salts.
Andy Ruiz was probably in the best shape. I just don't think he was ready for that fight. And you're right, Joseph Parker really wasn't either. But anyway,
Yeah, like I said, Joseph Parker, he tied him up inside. Andy Ruiz lost that fight due to lack of activity. If he let his hands go more, he'd outscored him. It was a decent fight, and as you guys both stated,
It was an
but it
entertaining
wasn't a great fight.
It was an entertaining fight.
Exactly. Billy White, Derek Chisora probably might have been the most entertaining fight of the weekend. Unfortunately for Derek Chisora, as soon as, before the bell rang, he was already losing 25,000 pounds of his purse. He has to pay another 5,000 or 5,200 on top of that to the BBBFC for the table throwing incident. They're actually charging him for the official hearing where everybody has to come in and officially talk and the hearing, go back and forth, say what happened, see if they want to appeal it or whatever the case may be. So Derek Chisora, he's going to have 2 years off now because that's already mandated. I think this might have been the last fight of his career, even though it was an entertaining fight. On the other hand, I really don't think Dillian White is going to go much further. Dillian White, actually, he's just going to replace Derek Chisora as that guy who always puts on an entertaining fight, but he's never able to make it to that next level.
that's a good point. What do you got cooking in social media today?
Well, in 1 second here, sorry. In one thing, sad news. Last week, Ed Bad Boy Brown, 25 years old, he goes out, he comes to a late gym session. Him and his cousin are shot from a car, and Ed dies the next day from the wounds to his head. And then Alejandro Gonzalez Jr., anybody who doesn't know him, he's the young Mexican fighter who actually fought Carl Frampton in Carl Frampton's debut, where a lot of people were saying, is Carl Frampton really that good? Because Alejandro Gonzalez Jr. gave him a heck of a fight down there in Texas. He was found dead in his Jeep on the side of the road, and they actually believe it was a gangland slaying because he was shot execution style. I don't know what's going on in the sport. These young guys here, 23 and 25 years old, as I stated, this is supposed to be a sport where this is the means to an end. It always has been. This is the last thing when guys have nothing left and they go out there and they use this sport to try and make something of their lives. And they had 2 kids here who were doing that, and now 2 kids here before they had a chance are shot down before the prime of their life even hits.
I thought the one was the recent one, not Brown. I thought they said it was most likely suicide.
No, they said it was gangland.
Huh? I must have been an update.
Mexican gangland. Actually, and it might have been just talk and assumptions, but I think it was the first that night that it happened. Somebody had actually hinted towards drug trafficking. So hopefully not. But either way, still, this is a 23-year-old kid and a 25-year-old young man last week too. So this is sad.
Yeah,
it's sad. It's sad. You know what? You live the life. You pay the price in the end. I don't know. Hey, didn't they say Alexis Arguello died from suicide with 5 bullet holes in his head?
Yes, he died.
No, it was
yes.
chest. It was.
That's
chest.
how it was ruled.
Yeah, but it was it was a shotgun wound to his
So
chest.
Luis Ortiz versus Shannon Briggs. That's almost guaranteed in February, from what I understand.
Well, Luis Ortiz, you knew that he was going to be taking that road, but isn't Shannon Briggs fighting before then? Isn't he fighting? I thought he's fighting Lucas Brown. I thought he and Lucas Brown were fighting.
No, I don't think so. And as far as I know, no. Lucas Brown, from what I remember, he just failed another test.
Yeah, maybe that fight was canceled. I thought that
So he may not. Here's something that might entertain you. Richard Schaefer, we all know the backstory on him. We know what he did with Golden Boy Promotions, and we know that he's opening up and he's actually signing his own fighters. Somebody told me that he signed some fighters over the last week, and when they actually came over and they all signed their contracts, he actually gets up and he welcomes them all to Golden Boy Promotions.
What?
Richard Schaefer accidentally, we all know the backstory on Richard Schaefer.
Oh, accidentally welcomed them.
Yes, and he tells them all, he goes, welcome to Golden Boy Promotions.
That's funny. And I'll tell you, one of the guys he must have signed was Leo Santa Cruz because he was sitting right next to him at the fights the other night.
It might be. I don't know. I hope not. Leo Santa Cruz, I know he's had some, he's going through some personal issues with his father being sick. I know he has the upcoming rematch with Carl Frampton.
Well, his brother's sick, too.
Maybe he's just not thinking, what what am I doing right now?
Well,
trying to get the best in there, and you have a snake like Richard Schaefer in his ear.
Yeah, Leo Santa Cruz's brother too has been sick. His father is battling the disease now, but his cancer now. But his brother has been sick that they've been fighting for, and they all still live together. So good stuff.
Oh, I didn't know his brother was.
Oh yeah, his older brother. But Dax,
and here's something to bring up that I had sent you a text actually the other day about this. Accidentally, well, purposely, but accidentally, I come across one of these cards being held in New York where they try to get away with mixing in professional bouts with the amateur bouts, and they bill it as an amateur card.
Well, they do. You can do pro-ams in the state of New York. But
you know what? My point is, this is wrong. These promoters, they've pretty much killed boxing in the state of New York. And, for anybody to have a fight card in the state of New York, they put these outrageous insurance fees and not only was it the insurance, but you had to have the bond fees, and so it has shut down all the promoters in New York. They have gone to other places. Yeah, you know something? You can have the pro-am fights here. In my opinion, Bill, if you have a pro and they're being paid, I'm sorry. Have a pro-am card, that's not cutting it for me. Either you're having an amateur card or you're having a pro card. You're not having both, and you're not getting away with these $1 million purses. I mean, with these getting away with not having to pay these $1 million insurance fees because I'm going to sprinkle in a couple amateur card fighters on there. What is stopping any other promoter from doing that in New York?
First of all, we got to find out what's going on with that, because when you have a pro-am in the state of New York, and generally in any state, the states that I've been licensed in, the state of New York, Florida, the Carolinas, etc., what happens is you basically have two ruling commissions. You have the state commission for the pro side, and all those deals, all those rules and regulations have to be met. The only thing that they'll do is they'll give you an exemption on the total number of rounds that you have to put on a fight card. So rather than have 30 rounds or 28 rounds or whatever the state is calling for, they'll let you get away with less if you have an amateur card on there as well. Now, once the pros are over, or generally the amateurs go first, then they switch the commission. So if there's a pro-am, the amateurs would have the USA Boxing rules and officials. When that card is over, when those bouts are over, then the New York State Athletic Commission comes in. That's how it should go. But the insurance for the pro side should all still be the same. So, yeah,
exactly,
we got to find...
And that's my point.
Right.
And the way they had built this, and I looked these guys up, and clearly on this company's website, and when I called the venue, and it was a small venue, so that's another reason why I think they kind of might have pulled the wool over some people's eyes. And, there were pros on there. They were professional fighters. They were billing these as pros. They were billing two pro debut fights on there. One of the fighters on there overseas was actually a former Muay Thai champion, and they did this earlier this year. It was kind of like a little series, and they also have another website, another company that deals with this, and they provide these fighters, and they bill them as smokers. People who've been around the sport a long time know what smokers are. Ask a lot of these younger fans and tell them smokers, they look at you like you're crazy. But, these people, they pride themselves on providing these fighters for smokers. Now, I called and I asked Eric Bentley, listen, what's going on? I asked him exactly what you stated. And Eric Bentley is going to say to me, I'm too busy. You're from the media. I said, I'm curious about this card. I'm curious on how this is being, how they're getting away with this. He goes, oh, you have to ask the media department. I said, no, Eric, you are in charge. I want to know from you. I'm too busy. I said, you're too busy for these type things? I said, yes. I said, do you even know this is going on, Eric? And he goes, I can tell you who to talk to in the media department. I said, you know something, Eric? All that is telling me is you're not doing your job right. When somebody comes to you, whether it's the media or anybody else, you should be able to have some sort of response than other, I'm too busy. Now, Eric, let me ask you a question. Forget about media. I'm Joe taxpayer. I want to know what's going on in my state. I pay taxes in this state. Do I have to sit there and show and prove to you that I pay taxes every year, homeowners taxes, school taxes, and so on in this state? Now you're going to answer my question? Oh, well, this is something that the media department's going to have to handle. Really? Are you serious, Eric? What this tells me is, as you stated before, another non-boxing guy in a boxing situation. I spoke to you a while ago about somebody we know in the area who said that he was not looking forward to going down and meeting with the commission right before they installed this $1 million rule because he knew it was going to happen. And right now, I truly believe Eric Bentley needs to get out of there because he's just killing all the promoters and boxing in the state, period. That was the worst answer I ever heard from anybody who's supposed to be an official. Larry Hazard wouldn't have gave that answer.
No. Hey, Dax, we got to move here. We're getting ready, so I will talk to you later in the week, my man.
All right, everybody.
Take care. That's Dax Khan. You can
Dax.
check
Have a
out
great
his
day.
column up on BillyCBoxing.com. And you know, Sal, he's right. Eric Bentley is a temporary commissioner, and Eric Bentley has no business making decisions for boxing. He's not a boxing guy. He was actually brought in as an assistant to the medical group a couple of years ago, and then was promoted to the assistant executive director. And then when they got rid of Dave Berlin, who was the executive director of the New York State Athletic Commission, Eric Bentley became the guy. And he kind of fell right into place, and they got rid of David Berlin when Governor Cuomo incorporated this law that Dax was talking about with the additional insurance. Now it just seems, and Dax's whole point, now it just seems that they're making special provisions for certain people, a la Floyd Mayweather, who's doing a show, or at least tentatively scheduled for a show in January, and the UFC got by it, and now Dax was mentioning this other card. So something has to be done, and it seems to me like boxing in New York State is heading for being illegal, because I kind of sense that that's what they want to do.
You know, maybe they do. The writing's on the wall. You know, if it looks like a duck, acts like a duck, quacks like a duck,
It's a goose?
it's a goose.
Yeah. If it looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, and walks like a duck, it's
It's
a
an
fighter?
impersonation.
It's a boxer? I mean, you know what? You know, but anyway, hey, listen.
You don't want me going off onto an analogy, do you?
No. I don't, please, no. But listen, later in the week, just so everybody knows, our schedule for this week is we're here today, of course, and Wednesday, and we'll be back on Saturday when we do the Bernard Hopkins, Joe Smith Jr. post-fight show. And FYI, we are going to be doing a lot of post-fight shows come 2017. That's one of our programming changes. And just like Brett gave us his suggestions, we're open for yours. So drop me an email, Billy@TalkinBoxing, that's TalkinBoxing.com, with your suggestions of any changes that you would want to see to this show for 2017. Also, our schedule for next week is we're here Monday and Wednesday. And then the week between Christmas and New Year's, we are off. And we come back with our new format on Monday, January 2nd. So, this year is coming to a close pretty quickly, Sal.
Unbelievably. Yes, I cannot believe we are going to see 2017 in just a few short weeks.
Believe me, it's going to be 2020 before we know it, but that's pretty scary. So for everybody out there, this week we're here again on Wednesday and then Saturday for our post-fight show. Next week we're here Monday and Wednesday, and then the last week of December we are off, and we return Monday, January 2nd, with our new schedule, which would be the same time. We're airing at the same time, but we will tell you what our new schedule will be and our new format on Monday, January 2nd. So we are going to be removing some things, and we are going to be adding some things. So I think overall everybody is going to enjoy it. And you got some links now to watch the fight, the Jamal Charlo fight that you missed. And I think you're
bringing it up right now.
Yeah,
I'm gonna watch that tonight.
Yeah,
I'm going to go watch it right now.
I think you're going to be impressed with that fight. Charlo did look good. I know Dax wasn't that impressed. And I was impressed with Terence Crawford's performance, even though he was against a guy that he should have beat. But all this week, all I can think of is Anthony Joshua beating the shit out of Deontay Wilder because he's gonna have a tough fight against Klitschko. I think he's gonna prevail, and then hopefully his next fight will be against Deontay Wilder, and I think he will knock Deontay Wilder not only out but into reality, because the reality is Deontay Wilder, he ain't that good, and you haven't fought many quality fighters throughout your whole career. He's overrated. He's clearly like Harder They Fall. He's clearly the main character. Everybody knows he's a bum, but him. And the way he talked and the way he acted on Saturday just makes me sick, Sal.
Yeah, and no matter what happens with the Klitschko fight, I think the Deontay Wilder fight should be next. Either way.
Yeah. Well,
that'd be good.
It would be
win,
nice.
lose, or draw. That's what I'm saying. It sets up a great time to fight Deontay Wilder. If he gets past Klitschko and wins, it's a great time to fight Wilder.
Exactly.
If he should lose to Klitschko, it's a great time to fight Wilder.
Well, here's what's going to happen.
It's a great fight.
Yeah,
right after the Klitschko.
But if he loses, Deontay Wilder's going to avoid him like the plague. Here's what I think is going to happen coming up in 2017. We're going to see Deontay Wilder fight someone, and they're going to give him the pass because he's coming off an injury. It won't be a top fighter. It'll be a bum, typically like an Eric Molina or Johan Duhaupas, similar to his level of opposition. That's what he's going to fight. In the meantime, Anthony Joshua will fight Vladimir Klitschko. If presuming he wins, I would not be shocked to see Deontay Wilder fight Anthony Joshua, unless they sprinkle in a fight with Luis Ortiz against Deontay Wilder first, which I don't think Deontay Wilder will fight him either. He's looking to unify the belt. So I also believe that Canelo Alvarez is going to fight an easy fight. Rumor has it he's going to fight the winner of Cotto James Kirkland, which is kind of a joke fight. So there are some joke fights out there. One fighter's name I don't hear being mentioned is Triple G. Now, we do know that the purse bid is happening between Triple G and Daniel Jacobs, but Daniel Jacobs already turned down $1.9 million to fight him. The purse bid minimum is $400,000 for Danny Jacobs' title. I think he's going to give up the title, Sal, and avoid Triple G at all costs. So that's what I think is going to happen as we close out this year and kick off the new one. So let's hope that the powers that be at boxing give us some stuff to look forward to.
Well, like I said, too, Bill, after this weekend with some of these good fights we saw, like I said, maybe boxing is in its rebooting process. It's going to give us some good matches for 2017. And we can only hope because, like I said, it's the showdown. It's time to put up or shut up with some of these guys.
Once the fans, and a lot of the problem, boxing has its own problems, and it's been progressively getting worse and worse. But today, in 2016, and as we head into 2017, a lot of the problem really is on the fans, like the email that we got earlier. The fans are buying into this crap. The fans put value on fighters with undefeated records and guys who make a lot of money. They have no concept of what the real sweet science is. The real sweet science is when a fighter avoids being hit by his opponent but is in position to hit again. Terence Crawford displayed that this past weekend. Anthony Joshua displayed that this past weekend. Guys like Floyd Mayweather don't display that. Yes, Floyd's a defensive master. There's no question about it. But he's not in position to do damage himself when he avoids those punches. When I get into arguments with fight fans that try to tell me that he's the example of the sweet science, I have to refer them to watch fights like, Terence Crawford or Vasily Lomachenko. Those guys are the types of fighters that are in position to land a punch. And when they do move in and engage, they're throwing 5, 6, 7 punches at a time, unlike Floyd, who does 1, 2 and runs out. So hopefully that'll become the norm, not the exception for some of these new fighters that are coming out. And I'm glad that they're making the fights. I'm really happy about that.
Me too. And we're going to see that hopefully continue in 2017.
Don't forget to tune in Saturday. We will be back here Wednesday, but don't forget to tune in Saturday right after the Bernard Hopkins-Joe Smith show, the fight. We will be going live with the Billy C. B-Hop, Joe Smith post-fight show, approximately 6 minutes, right here on Fight TV and the Billy C. Boxing webpage, and of course our YouTube channel, youtube.com/talkinboxing. That's TALKINBOXING. On this day in boxing history, Sal, December 12th in 1998, Fernando Vargas knocks out Yuri Boy Campos in the 7th round to win the IBF World Junior Middleweight title. Took place in Atlantic City, New Jersey. On this day in 1968, Nicolino Lachey knocks out Paul Fuji in the 10th round to win the World Junior Welterweight title. Took place in Tokyo, Japan. On this day in 1998, Nestor Garza wins a 12-round decision over Enrique Sanchez to win the WBA World Junior Featherweight title. Took place in Indigo, California. On this day in 1986, James Bone Crusher Smith knocks out
my old Army buddy.
Yeah, he knocks out Tim Witherspoon in the 1st round to win the WBA World Heavyweight title. It took place in New York City. On this day in 1930, Battalino wins a 15-round decision over Kid Chocolate to retain his World Featherweight title. Took place at Madison Square Garden in New York City. On this day in 1951, Ezra Charles wins a 12-round decision over Joey Maxim to improve to 71 wins, 6 losses, and a draw in their heavyweight fight that took place at the Cow Palace in Daly, California on this day. And finally, on this day in 1986, and here's a stat for all you youngins out there. On this day, December 12th, in 1986, Julio Cesar Chavez wins a 12-round decision over Juan Laporte to retain his WBC World Super Featherweight title. It took place at Madison Square Garden in New York City. Julio Cesar Chavez, he improves to 54 wins and no losses. So there's a guy that surpassed the 49-0, and then fought another 20 fights before losing his first fight. And people don't mention him in that discussion of how many fights he won in a row. So all he could have done is retired then and get more recognition than what he did, winning 100 fights in his pro career. But
unbelievable.
Anyway,
unbelievable.
Listen, that concludes our show for today. Sal, I know you're enjoying great weather. Me, not so much, unless you like.
Come up there and shovel. I miss snow. I miss winter. I'm telling you, I cannot keep cool enough down here. It is too hot.
Well, let me tell you something. Maybe I'll send you one of the igloos I'm going to have to build to survive here. But the bottom line is this. I want everybody to make sure that they tune in Wednesday morning. Same bat time, same bat channel. Until then, ciao, baby.